the Theosophical Society. Oh, I think I have to start that again. Hi, welcome. My name is Mary Power, and I'm broadcasting live from the San Francisco Theosophical Society. For a little over a month now. And the book I wrote, A Visionary Dance Oracle, A Book of the Soul, I'll put this up so you can see it. I wrote, that came out about at the start of April. And so I made a few art posters of the Oracle deck, and I've found that living with this art poster is not only beautiful in my space, but it's like a meditation for me, a kind of a yoga practice of union and discovering and understanding the colors and the images bring open my inner eye to a little bit deeper understanding of the mystery of the oracle. The cards that I designed correspond directly with the Tarot Major Arcana. So this card corresponds with the Hierophant. And there's no single interpretation to what I'm delivering tonight. And it reminds me of a story of a blind person asking several blind people who were surrounding an elephant to describe, what does the elephant look like? And each person, depending on where they were standing, described a different part of the elephant. They described the tail or the foot or the trunk or the footprint. And no single interpretation gave an idea, a clear idea of what an elephant was. But when it was all put together, there was a little bit better idea of the size and the magnitude. To comment and to help in the discussion, the online discussion, respectful insights and questions. This is something that we do in person when we do hold meetings. We have a lively discussion, and we don't always agree, and we don't always disagree. So that's where the respect comes in, and we have to know when to stop. So, thank you. The whole principle of the San Francisco Lodge is in sharing, we grow. So that's what we're working on. So I'm going to begin by stating the obvious. I bet you can figure it out. Men are different from women. So we could list the past, present, and future grievances, and also good points. And we can also look at how the patriarchal Iron Age that we are all living in has affected men differently from women, and also similarly. And we can discuss and identify with specific examples the great men and the evil men and the women in their shadow. We also have, we are still living in his story, and his story is shaped in his image, usually erasing whole horrific actions of history, and sometimes exaggerating cowardly acts to heroic levels. But sometimes names of real heroes come into the story, no matter what gender, race, creed, sex, caste, or color. So we are all born out of a dance into a world of cycles, both natural and man-made. And I'm going to need to put these lovely spectacles on so I can see my notes. Man's world builds and destroys with war and peace, with rape and suffering, with both magnificent and sometimes awful imposing architecture. We now have wonders of advanced technology accompanied with various forms of slavery. Becoming ever more distant in human understanding. Would human population be the problem if we knew how to live with nature? I don't know. I know we don't know how to live with nature. With population growth, village life has changed forever. Vital ceremonies that once held us closer to nature are distant memories. Seasons and moons were cause for celebration, and we used to tend and implore the spirit of the earth, its life-giving forces, its healing energy to increase our fecundity and well-being, not just for ourselves, for the whole Earth's ecosystem. Now we can't go backward. We can't cut ourselves off, east meets west, north meets south. It's all happening. So I've been researching Pythagoras, and it doesn't take too long. Most of the ancient Greek philosophers can be traced straight back to the ancient goddesses. Women taught men the ancient mysteries. Some men carried it forward, opening the door for men and women, but most men closed the door to women. The ancient mystic Pythagoras was a student and teacher of the Orphic and Delphic mysteries. He opened the school for women and men. A Greek man who discovered divine harmony in the various lengths of musical strings. And he also discovered the wisdom and beauty within numbers and mathematics. Regarding even numbers, he considered them all feminine, and odd numbers were considered all masculine. He determined the number 4 to represent space and justice. Now, for anyone who's interested in reading a feminist Psi artist, I would recommend checking out Margaret Wertheim, and she's got some great titles. One of them is called Pythagoras' Trousers. So Google it, right? Now, I've been given this crown by my dear brother. I come to you as I am, one woman, among sons, fathers, it is with this bias and personal life experience, through observation and deep research of credible sources, that I tell you the feminine is not now, nor ever will it be absent from the discussion of the masculine, and vice versa. Masculine and feminine are inseparable and different. The yin and yang are inseparable. Understanding the mystery is the basis of the oracle. Understanding this mystery of yin and yang is the basis of the oracle. It's not a formula. It's not linear, and it is linear. There is reason and logic based on cause and effect. There are unknown measures beyond cause and effect, holding the dilemma of time and space is like holding the dilemma of joy and suffering all at once in one's heart. It is the greatest challenge of music. Is helpful. Keep the responsibility to joy circulating in your bones. I got ants in my pants and I need to dance. But sports are good too. Play sports with your friends to relieve some steam. Now, the attitude of inseparable flow of yin and yang is taken from the study of Fu He, a precursor to the I Ching of Confucius and to the Tao Te Ching of Lao Tzu. As a woman and a dancer, I prefer this ancient line of wisdom to guide my understanding of our world in perpetual motion. The inseparable flow of motion endures any intellectual logic by including the practicality of unknown possibility. Yin and yang, logic and possibility, are bound in a mutually crucial role of predictability. In other words, it's a view of vertical alignments, of time coming together moment by moment. We call it luck. It could be good luck, it could be bad luck. Synchronicities inhabited by logic seem unrelated, even though their probability and possibility presents innumerable opportunity. I like this view because it's a guilt-free view, sans the Judeo-Christian Adam and Eve guilt. I've been looking at Carl Jung's Mysterium Coniunctionis. Coniunctionis, man, Coniunctionis. It turns out the medieval of research on the alchemists of old regarding Adam and Eve, he found little to nothing on Eve, on the alchemy of Eve. Now that's infuriating, but there's more. The sophisticated alchemists of the time didn't even notice. They elevated the primordial man, Adam, as the esteemed androgynous man. In this story, Adam, as androgynous man, never really needed Eve, never really needed Eve's rib donation. Anyway, no ribbing. Adam had alchemically absorbed the feminine conjunctionis. But no, it's not conjunction. It's annihilation. Adam's absorption of the yin operates as an obliteration of the feminine quality entirely. Not only that, the yin quality, the feminine, and Eve herself was further designated as a succubus, a feminine demon, a female, if you will, who lived inside the man with sole purpose of driving him insane. Yin was evil within man. It easily translated into physical violence and subjugation of women. It was and always has been the fault of Eve, the fall of Eve. And without exception, she was the evil one. When Adam decided to use a swizzle stick to stir the cauldron, it was her fault. There it is, shame, blame, and the humiliation of the masculine. Adam, with a healthy plopping of guilt and damnation all over everybody, but especially the whorish, feminine Eve. In summary, fear of being a whole man could only be overcome by possessing and subjugating the feminine quality within him. Otherwise, the greater fear was going to be going insane by being possessed by it. At any rate, it was her fault when he went nuts. And yang, etc. Now here's a story that exemplifies the how to use the perspective of yin and yang in oracle seership. I've modernized the ancient story somewhat. So relax and listen. I'll try to do a good job reading it. There once was a king mountain, full, bountiful, and cared for. It was filled with beautiful ancient forests, timber, birds, and all kinds of wildlife. The name king is meant to imply a yang power. However, King Mountain stood in the yin position to the higher and larger Queen Mountain, implying a feminine power in the yang position. The King-Queen Mountain symbol indicates the king was receptive to the feminine power of the queen. The Queen Mountain, by some evil means, had been stripped of all resource, of its gems and gold, ecosystems and wildlife. It was no longer covered with old growth forest canopy. The King Mountain remained the stronghold of old groves in the Queen Mountain's devastation. The King Mountain maintained the ecosystems and all manner of life and timber. It was said the King Mountain bowed with purpose and understanding before the Queen Mountain without a sense of It was said that the King Mountain bowed to the Queen Mountain with sense of purpose and without any sense of inadequacy. King Mountain wasn't diminished by his position. Unfortunately, as generations wore on, the nearby city filled with humans who no longer were in touch with the value or care for King Mountain. The people justified bulldozing the forest go. Over time, the ancient forest was forgotten, as if it had never existed in the first place. It would seem King Mountain had always been a place of pay parking lots and condominiums, as if this was normal. It appeared to be normal. Quote, "In what is inherent in man, is there no sense of love and righteousness? That which makes man disregard his good nature is similar to what the axes and hatchets have done to the trees. Battered incessantly, day in and day out, how can man's good nature retain its beauty? His diurnal rest and the balmy air of the dawn may indeed restore his good nature, a semblance of human aspiration, but then his daily activities tend to destroy it. As this destruction recurs again and again, he fails to preserve his nocturnal breath with its recuperative power. And this failure reduces him to a state little different from that of a beast. And when people see him in his beastly state, they think he never had any human attributes in the first place. Is this normal nature of man?" Now this story, the original story, is from Confucian sage Mencius, and the story and excerpt are both taken from Henry Wei's Guiding Light of Lao Tzu. And I love this because Henry Wei was such a scholar, but he was also a member of our lodge, amongst other incredibly far out people. Its poison is insidious, affecting all relations, human relations, animal, flora, ecosystems, mineral, sky, earth, water, etc. Everything in this world where we live comes from this world where we live. No matter how refined it is, it comes from the world. Plant medicine has to be refined somewhat and is usually delivered by someone who knows what they're doing, because just as much as man-made refined medicine can be deadly or healing, so can plant medicine be deadly or healing. So it really depends on the physician, and that's really part of the Hippocratic Oath, since I'm on the Greek topic with Pythagoras. The historical, the toxicity of superiority, the eons of patriarchal reign that consume our world. Hubris is found with blind certainty among some men in power, to the extent where they believe that the solution to the total collapse and consumption, destruction of the Earth climate is to move to Mars and start afresh. Have you seen Mars? I mean, look up the rover Mars pictures. So I kind of think, when I hear this, I think, bye, good riddance, have fun. But if you do go, know this: humans will carry their evil wherever they run. The lessons are not learned, woe to him who goes seeks solace on Mars. Just saying. So how do we restore and recharge? How do we relate again? By changing our view. And by the way, it wouldn't help to develop a functional sense of humor with a healthy dose of common sense. In the Visionary Dance Oracle, a book of the soul, I wrote a dance motif for each card, and the dance motif I wrote for Masculinus is card 4, to bring us into the way of responsibility. The motif says, examine pathways already paved by historic and mythic figures, then create your own long-lasting dance path. Go big or go home, or tone it down a notch, depending on counsel and insight. Read the room. Make friends. The superiority complex, the root of racism, fascism, destroys unity. To prove its stupid opinion is better than everyone else's. Racism, fascism demeans and isolates by inflicting pain and suffering with such injury, so horrific, it breaks the spirit and desires to extinguish the light of beauty within. The brutal scars cannot fully heal when oppression seeks to make the logical recourse bitterness and hatred. Everyone becomes suspect, friend, and foe. Fear is an excruciating blindness. An eye for an eye seems easier than the effort to make new friends. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is some kind of clear light. The light of seeing past, the light of seeing present, the light of seeing future, unbound. Once the clear light rushes in, the guk of hundreds of thousands of years is removed from our heart vision. The source of the clear light cannot be possessed or owned. It gives courage to grow beyond our view of beyond our pain, beyond our sorrow and fear. We discern friend from foe once again. We can. More than a seal of alliance between the king and the queen, Masculinus, and Femininus. It is inseparable motion of yin and yang. The alliance is greater because of the inseparable motion of yin and yang, because of the difference. It's great. It's also the grave knowledge and the joyous agreement of the value of beauty and the wisdom of the heart, the wisdom of taking heart. Human actions are being called into question. Man has within his power to stand in relation with himself and nature. He has the capacity to take up his rightful place as the king mountain Masculinus. One so endowed becomes the strength the power of beauty within and guard it for all time. The toxicity of hate and the destiny of all haters will destroy everything once loved and cared for. This card helps to develop the wild spirit of beauty's power within the courageous. Remember, Masculinus, you will become what you hate. And remember this also. The internal dance, the external dance, the internal and external dance of yin and yang is inseparable motion. The clear light is the source of light that lighteth everyone of humankind that cometh into this world. It is the radiance of cosmic consciousness. Yogins realize it while still in the fleshly body, and all beings glimpse it at the moment of death. It is the light of the Buddha, the Christ, and all masters of light. And to the devotee in whom it shines unimpededly, it is the Guru and the deliverer. May all beings be well, may all beings be happy, peace, peace, peace. Thank you.